Hello and welcome to my channel. My name is Kimberly. I've been a nurse for 25 years and I work in the emergency department. I am going to be doing a little get ready with me, so I hope that you will follow along. And if you are new here, I hope you will hit the subscribe bell and you'll be signed up for content as I post it about Monday, Wednesday, and Thursday. And so let's get into it. Tonight I'm going to be talking about when I was a student nurse, and what do you do when you are in nursing and you want to work, and what do you do with, how do you balance working and being in school? So as we get ready to go along here, I'm going to go ahead and do my eye palette. The other night I did an eye palette where I did the eyes first. I usually do my foundation and everything first, but this time I'm going to try it again where I do eyes first and then we'll do the foundation and the other stuff later. So I'm going to be using some of my Naked 3 palette, and I'm going to try. I cannot read these without my glasses on, so I'm sorry. It's this one here. I'm going to be using the pink to start, and we're just going to go in up over the brow bone and, get started. So what do you do if you want to work and you are going to nursing school? First of all, a couple things here. This is very dependent on what your home situation is. Is your home situation something that you have an entire household to support while you're in school? Do you have to maintain your current job that you're in while you're in school? Or are you open to working outside of, the job that you're currently in? Chances are, if you work a 9 to 5, it's going to be really hard to go to school and work at the same time. There's probably going to be some clashing, overlapping. It's going to be really hard to manage a job and studies and everything else, but it can be done. And when I was in school, I will tell you, I struggled so hard. I was a single parent. I had 2 kids. I had a household to support, and I really struggled with how to find that balance with working, school, my kids, and balancing any job, that I needed to do at the time. I had been working in the emergency department as a ward secretary when I first got into school. I had been doing it while I was in school. I actually had worked for an insurance company. Sorry, I got one of those rogue hairs again. I had been working for an insurance company prior to my emergency department gig, and I actually took a pay cut to go to work in the ER because I was going to be working shifts that were going to be 12-hour shifts versus the Monday through Friday 9 to 5 kind of gig. And I had to make some adjustments well before I went into school. And that was kind of a planned thing for me because I knew I was going to need the flexibility of certain days of the week. And, I wasn't sure how it was all going to work out, but it was part of the plan to go to school, work, and try to do it all. And I'm going to say that if you are in school or you're planning to, go to school, one of the things that's going to be really hard is trying to adjust your lifestyle and expectations based on, what your school schedule looks like. And what does that mean? Well, unfortunately, while you're in school, it is going to be really hard to work in a position where you're going to be making lots of money. It can be done, but it's going to be harder. It's going to be hard to work in a position where you're making the bank. You need to really understand that while you're in school, that's not the time that you're going to be making the big money. Your money will come pretty quickly after you get out of school, because nursing is one of the few jobs that you come out of school and usually go into a relatively high paying bracket right out of school. It's one of the highest paying salaries directly out of school that you can get into. So that's one of the goods about that. But it's often really hard to adjust your lifestyle and expectations to a different lifestyle while you're in school. I mean, I called it living during my poor times. I'm telling you, when I say rough, it was rough. But there's also other options that you can explore, like making sure that you apply for financial aid. I would say that about 50-50 of the students I went to school with worked. Some did not. I remember having serious envy of the students I worked with that did not have to work. And, it's just a different time of life. God dog it. I got one of those, that hair is really bugging the heck out of me. So I guess it was stuck in there. But it was about 50-50 on the students that were working, and I was one of them. Now, there are schools out there. If you haven't already selected your nursing school, know that there are schools out there that you can go to that will allow you to maybe work a different type of schedule. I went to nursing school at Mount St. Mary's College in Los Angeles, and there was a program that was through the Doheny campus, which was nights and weekends. The classes met on a Monday through Friday type of evening schedule after 6 p.m., and the clinicals were on the weekends. I knew that doing a program like that was going to cost me more money up front, but it was going to be something that I could do that would allow me to be a mother, raise my children, and be able to sustain our lifestyle of me working during the week as well. Was it hard? Abso-freaking-lutely, it was hard, but it's doable. And what you have to remember while you're in school is this time, this really difficult time that you're going through while you're in school, this is temporary. It will get better. You will be able to eventually, there's an end date in sight. And if you can go into this with the idea that there's an end date in sight, I think that things are a lot more doable. When you go into something where the hard work is endless and there's no end in sight, that's not sustainable. And then there feels like there's no goal for it to ever end. I'm just making some quick adjustments here to my eyes. I'm recovering from a sinus and throat. I had a strep throat recently, brutal, and it affected my sinus. So this eye is pretty messed up right now. Kind of both of them are, but I'm having a lot of issues. I'm going to go ahead and put some makeup on anyway. I haven't worn makeup for a few days, so we're going to go ahead and put the eye makeup on. We're doing the makeup forever today. I'm going in with the liquid. Here we go. Let's do this. Let's not mess this up. So, there are ways to do this, but this is going to be a time where you're probably going to have to really be like all hands on deck in your personal life. It's going to suck. It's going to suck big time for a while, but you can do it. I mean, I have faith in you. If I could do it, you could do it, because I'm telling you, I don't know how I got it done with 2 kids and a job and going to school and working. I think it was partially insanity, and the goal had to, it had to be met. There was just no way around it. I actually became a single mother while I was in my first semester of nursing school. I gave birth to my second child at the end of the first semester, which someday we'll get into that too. That was crazy. I actually delivered him the morning after a final exam in December. And I look back on that and I just think that was absolute insanity too. But I think that if you really want something bad enough, you can do it. And I'm going to turn right here. Come out to the side and make my little winglet. My expectations are kind of low today on the makeup, but I'm doing something. That's all that counts. So yeah, I was driven. I wanted to get it done. And I think if you want something bad enough, you can do it too. And it's possible. It's just not going to be easy. Sorry. Here I go with the washcloth on the eyelashes. I have to do that. I just can't stand when there's any kind of eyeliner. What was the word I was looking for? I can't stand it when there's any kind of eyeliner that gets on my lashes. I'm gonna put a little bit of concealer, just like a tiny dot here. I don't want to go heavy on the concealer underneath my eyes because it's pretty fair, the concealer is, and I just don't want it to get crazy. Actually, that one didn't even come off. I'm gonna go back under here. This is Huda Beauty, the Huda Beauty concealer. I use it in marshmallow and sometimes, depending on my skin tone, cotton candy. So I just did a kind of a basic pink shadow today. I'm gonna go kind of simple with that and the Makeup Forever in the plum. The plum can look kind of brown. It does on my eyes, but accentuates the green, so that's why I do that. And we're gonna go in here. I'm gonna put some mascara on, and then I'm gonna put my foundation on. So the question you have to ask yourself is, if you're having a hard time working or figuring out how you're gonna work when you're in nursing school, is ask yourself, what are you willing to do? What are your options? Can you get away with utilizing financial aid? Is that something you want to do, to utilize financial aid while you're in school and pay your bills that way? If you're going to do that, I would strongly suggest you pay down your debt well before you go into school if you can. Credit cards, all that kind of stuff. If you can't, you can't. But, you may have to utilize student loans if you're not going to work. If you are going to work, I would look into nursing school programs that are friendly to a working class family and see if there's anything that can be done with, working out your schedule for classes and clinicals with that. Network with other parents, other moms, other dads in class and otherwise to work out daycare situations. Utilize your family if they're willing, and, see what you can do if you have kids that you have to take care of, because that can be the harder challenge, is managing taking care of a family. Sometimes, you might be young and not have children and be able to just downsize your daily lifestyle. And that means if you've got $1,000 car payment and you're trying to go to nursing school, maybe sell the car and buy a clunker for a little bit. As long as you have something reliable, you don't have to have anything fancy, as long as it gets you from point A to point B. I think what happens the most is that people get to a point in their life that they're not willing to adjust their lifestyles when they get to a point, like they might have changed their goals and have been working and could have afforded that, $800,000-$900,000 car payment long before school. But you're in school right now, and you may have to live like you're in school. And it may be a lot of sleepless nights and ramen noodles and a car that you don't love. But at the end of the day, you're going to meet your goal, and you will get those things back in your life that you want to have in your life if you're willing to sacrifice up front for what you want in the future. I hope that's helpful. I don't know if it is or if it's not. I will tell you just a little going back to story time. When I was in school, I mentioned I gave birth to my second child while I was in nursing school. And that meant, I was going to school while I was pregnant. Things were not going well in my personal relationship at the time, and I knew that was probably not going to be a sustainable relationship. It was not going to be healthy for me while I was in school. That person that I was with was not supportive of me, moving forward in my life, and it became very apparent. I don't think he actually think I was going to do it, and I think what happened is the further I got along with making my goal and going to school, I think the more threatened he got. And it became a constant battle of whether I was going to just quit and rely on him or if I was going to keep going. And the answer was I was going to keep going. And I'm glad I did, because he didn't have a real goal of sticking around anyway. That became really apparent. So I was grateful for, all the people that were in my life that encouraged me and provided, support to, tell me to keep going, because there were days I didn't want to keep going. I wanted to quit. I wanted to just be a mother. I wanted to just maintain the status quo of my life and not make those. I didn't want to make those sacrifices up front, which meant financial and moving back in with family, which sucked. But I was grateful that I had family that I could move back in with. And sometimes there's things that we sacrifice in the immediate for, long-term goals. And I moved back in with family. I started saving money. I had to continue to work. I had to buy diapers. I had to buy supplies. I had to pay for, gas to and from. Nobody was going to pay my bills while I was in school. And I also had the goal where I didn't want to rack up a whole bunch of debt. I didn't want the student loans, where a lot of people were taking out big student loans through banks and stuff to finance their education. I did not do that. I went through some basic loans and lending for FAFSA. I went through some very basic stuff, and then I was, I had a goal too of not allowing my debt to accumulate to where I would, be paying on it for 15, 20 years. I wanted to pretty quickly after out of school, I knew I would want to buy a home, and, I had big goals. So I started socking away money. I was working, I wasn't working crazy. I was only working, I think, part-time. I was working 2 to 3, sometimes full-time shifts in the ER. I was a tech in the ER, and I also had a job that it was compressed schedule, so I could work those days and then devote my other days to school or kids. And I kind of had to find a way to do both, which if you really want to do this, you're going to have to get creative. It's like if you really wanted to do something with like buying a home, sometimes you've got to get creative with how you're going to do your financing to make sure it happens. I saved, every dime that I could and put it away. And 6 months, I want to say 6 months after I got out of school, I bought a home, which was a very tiny, meager home, but it was our home. And I was doing well. I was doing well in the sense that I had gained my independence. I had been able to move out and afford to buy a home for me and my children, and then build on that financial stability as we went on. So like I said, it's not going to be easy. It is doable. It's not going to feel good while you're doing it, and it's like running a marathon. You are going to have moments where you want to quit and throw in the towel, and it's going to suck, and you are going to have to embrace that suck and get up in that hill, get on the other side, and you will sail down the backside of it, and it will all work out. But there are going to be some sacrifices that you're going to have to make in the meantime if you want to do this, and I have faith in you. I think that you can do it. I mean, if I could do it, and I had about everything going against me that I felt like could be going against me, with finances and kids, and kids in the sense of, I love my kids. It wasn't that they were a detraction. It was just the responsibility of kids, work responsibilities, going through separation, dealing with emotional distress of having in a relationship. And when I had a brand new baby, I mean, that was that was terrible. Having to go back to class and try to figure out how I was going to do all that after that ended. That's why I said, I think you can do this. I got to find my brow thing. I don't know where it went. Oh, there it is. We're almost done. I put my same signature lip on. It's the Rare Beauty lip liner and the I think it was the Charlotte Tilbury. Yeah, it was the Pillow Talk lipstick. And I'm just putting on my Brow Wiz by Benefit. Oh, sorry. Gimme Brow, not Brow Wiz. I've had Brow Wiz, but this is not Brow Wiz. This is Gimme Brow by Benefit. We're going to draw that in a little bit. I'm going to just bring those inner corners in a little bit right here, just so I have a little more depth. I'm not going to get too crazy with the brow today. I'm just, like I said, draw that out just a smidge. That one's okay, but we're going to just elongate it a little bit. And that is it. I got to dry my hair and get my day moving. But again, I just hope that this is helpful. I know you can do it. I strongly believe in you. I believe that anything is possible if you really want to do it. It's just a matter of whether you're going to put in the work. So I hope this was helpful, and I will see you on my next video. I will see you on the flip side.